welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Two Goalies, One Mic, episode 198, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 6 different Western New York locations, also located in Rochester and Ohio. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer and let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. Some deals going on, actually, as we went live. The Buffalo Sabres have re-signed defenseman Ryan Johnson. I think it's to a 3-year, 2-way deal. I want to say, I don't know the details. And then literally as I read that, the Sabres announced they have acquired a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Sam Lafferty. So Sam Lafferty, no longer a Sabre, goes back to the Chicago Blackhawks for a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. So a lot of stuff happening as we're sitting here going live. Joey, thanks for hopping on.
No problem, man. I didn't know whether or not to put Intern Joey or not.
No, you're good, bud. You're good. So your thoughts on Alex Lyon? Again, we'll get right to that. Your thoughts so far on Alex Lyon, and then of course, what I just said, Ryan Johnson. I like Ryan. I think Ryan Johnson, that's an obvious move in my opinion. He was a former first-round pick. I think he's played like admirably well in what he's been asked to do. And then, Lafferty, I mean, he was, I don't want to say the word useless, but kind of useless last season.
I mean, yeah, I think just a cap dump, $2 million for a 4th-line center, probably your 13th forward. So I think we all saw that coming, to be honest. And that kind of tells me maybe they will try to spend to the cap this year, try to make a couple big moves. Yeah, like you made cap space from the Peterka trade because you would have had to pay him $8 million. So I'm hoping that we do something like a Nikolai Ehlers or something like that. Mm-hmm. For the Alex Lyon signing, he's pretty much like what we've seen the past couple of years in Reimer, Craig Anderson, just that veteran backup goalie. He's not too like stellar, but he's also like just solid and a good veteran presence for the group, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, it's like it's almost like signing Jake Allen. You know what I mean? Like very I don't know like how similar their numbers are, but this past season, Alex Lyon, former Yale Bulldog, he was again, we're expected to sign him. It hasn't been made officially yet. Just want to make that clear. It has not been made officially yet. But had a 896 save percentage, but had a 281 goals against. I think he had a shutout. And if you think back to that year where the Sabres missed the playoffs by 1 point, Florida finished ahead of us, and Alex Lyon was their starting goalie at the end of that season. And I believe in the beginning of April, I can't remember the exact date, but in a game against Buffalo, he had a 2-1 win over the Sabres. Obviously, that is a huge given the fact that they missed by 1 point, and the team they missed by 1 point was that game in particular.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he also stole the starter job for Detroit last year too, did he not? At the end of the season,
I believe so. I'm not 100% positive.
Oh, okay. And for Ryan Johnson signing too, I do really like that. I thought he was really good in the NHL. I don't know why he didn't get any minutes, especially when you have Jacob Bryson playing like on the second pair at times when somebody's hurt. Like, I thought Ryan Johnson, he played good with Dahlin. He played good with Power. He played good on the third pair role. I think they just wanted to give him some more time, maybe just to get stronger in the AHL because he's obviously pretty small, can't really protect the front of the net yet. But yeah, I think $775K, that's a really good deal for 3 years. And I have hope still that it could become like a complimentary, like maybe 4th, 5th defenseman in the NHL.
Agreed. Yep. I'm going to bring up real quick here. Obviously, 2 deals going, 2 announcements made there right off the jump as we go live, and Ryan Johnson, and then them clearing $2 million in cap space with the Ryan Lafferty trade. I'm assuming, again, a cap dump, right? Like that's exactly what that is. Get a 6th-round pick for him. Chicago has all the cap space in the world. They can afford to do it. So I'm going to bring up right here. I'll share my screen. The remaining UFAs, as of right now, they got teams that we're 10 minutes to midnight, essentially. Obviously, free agency starts at 12 noon. And let me see here. Present. Share my screen with all you guys. Do share. Back. Bring it up. Here we go. You see that? Can we see it, Joe?
Yeah.
There we go. Or where is it? Hold on. Why? Oh, there we go. So we have our I don't know why it's splitting the screen there because that's the way the overlay is set up, but you can get the gist, right? So you have Michael Granlund there leading all things off from Dallas, 33 years old, center. Nikolai Ehlers, left winger, at 29 years old, probably going to get paid big. He's like your youngest and honestly biggest target probably in free agency. And then you have Brock Besser, not biggest, but you have Brock Besser, right winger. Used to have injury issues, but has really kind of turned it around for Vancouver. Obviously, very beloved by Canucks fans. I'd love to see, honestly, Brock Besser in a Sabres uniform, but the biggest problem here is the Sabres have missed the playoffs for 14 years in a row. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the organization. How much are you overpaying those guys to be willing to come to Buffalo? And then you go further down the list, it's just not very appealing. You pay a Suter, Evgeny Dandinoff, in terms of forwards, Jack Roslovic, Jonathan Drouin, 36-year-old James Van Riemdijk, and as you get lower, it's not really that appealing. You like 17 on the list is Victor Olofsson, for instance. Like, it's just not a very appealing list.
Yeah. I would like if we got Brock Besser, as long as I know that, like, he would be, I don't know. I feel like it's a little risky because he's going to want to bag, like, a lot of money, and he is hurt a lot of the time. But, like, I do feel like he's a similar player to Jack Quinn, like what we want Jack Quinn to be. So I think he would be a good mentor for Jack Quinn. I think he would fit good with, like, pretty much anybody on the lineup. Ryan McLeod, I think he would do good. Tage Thompson, I think he would do solid. So I would like that signing.
Depends on where you're sliding Tage. You know what I mean? Is he your center? Is he your winger? Like, really don't know. Obviously, we know that Lindy would prefer to have him play on the wing. But he also had like a 90-plus point season at center under Don Granato. So, where does he fit into the equation? Your top six? Is he a center? Is he wing? Does that mean you're sliding Josh Norris down to your second? I mean, if Tage Thompson is your first line center and then Josh Norris your second line center, Ryan McLeod your third line, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you're doing pretty well for yourself there. That's fine. But I mean, you're still bare on the wings.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I would feel perfectly comfortable with Thompson at center, personally.
Yeah, I also personally would like to know how who's calling all the shots right now in their war room. I know we saw pictures of them earlier at development camp. Day 2 of development camp was today. I attended day 1 yesterday. It was, I haven't been to development camp since the year both Levi and Portillo were there. But very, they only had 8 forwards, like 20 defensemen attended, and 5 goalies. So, very, very interesting first day at development camp. But, you saw reporters tweeting out that, Kevin seems to be working the phones while at development camp. Personally, I'd rather him and Yarmo and the staff, like, let people, I personally would rather them all be in a war room right now. I can care less about development camp, day 2, whatever. Let your coaches handle that. You don't need to be watching that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I did actually hear, I don't remember where it was, but I heard the Sabres were going to take a run at Ehlers. So I'm trying to hold out a little bit of hope because as Sabres fans, we really have nothing to be excited about. So
yeah,
I'm hoping for Ehlers.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised they were able to even get anything for Sam Lafferty. It's like that's funny to me that they even got a return, and assuming that they're not eating any of that $2 million.
Yeah, 100%. It was, hey, plan the parade, baby. Plan the parade.
Yeah, plan the parade. If you kind of look, can you see the restricted free agents that I pulled up on the screen here? You got, obviously RFAs, you're susceptible to offer sheets, and when you're heading into your RFA stats, obviously, you saw that happen last year with Holloway and Broberg, with St. Louis, Edmonton. Obviously, Edmonton chose not to match, and that worked out really well for St. Louis. Both players had fantastic seasons. Sabres qualified all their RFAs except for Bernard Docker, which was obviously very confusing. I don't know your thoughts on that. Essentially trading Dylan Cousins and a second-round pick and Denny Gilbert. People almost forget that Denny Gilbert was part of that trade to Ottawa for a often injured Josh Norris, who again is a former 30-plus goal scorer. Is when healthy, he is the best player in that, no doubt, in that trade. But the big question mark is, can he stay healthy? And then you get Jacob Bernard Docker. But then, almost an indictment on Kevin Adams, just not being able to manage his assets properly, whether it's trading second round picks, just kind of throwing around like Skittles, and or letting a guy walk to unrestricted free agency by not qualifying him. And it wouldn't have cost them anything on their cap. It was like 90. I think there might have been like his qualifying offer would have been like less than $1 million. That's nothing for a team that's expected to have a lot of caps. Like, I don't understand that. And I think a lot of fans, like you saw, a lot of fans react a certain way they did after the news that they weren't going to qualify him. Listen, we understand we're not getting, he's not a guy that's, an elite level talent. He's a replaceable guy. But I think the fact of the matter is, you included a second round pick in that trade for Josh Norris. When you sent Dylan Cousins there, you kind of feel like that was probably the reason why, is because you wanted Docker, a right-handed shot defenseman, and then you let him walk away for nothing.
Yeah, like that's very weird to me, because I thought he played very good with Owen Power, actually. Like, I'm not expecting him to be a top 4 defenseman or anything, but he's a very good player to have, right-handed depth defenseman, because injuries happen. Yeah, it was just really weird, and that just goes to show like Sabres asset management and why they keep getting taken advantage of.
Yeah,
like just throwing second-round picks, throwing your physical. He wanted to be a Sabre, Dennis Gilbert. He liked the Sabres. I don't know. It's very weird. Honestly, I could see the Sabres re-signing Gilbert in free agency, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. But yeah, it's just very weird to me.
So Lance just tweeted out 2 minutes ago, Sabres recent free agent signings traded before their contracts have expired. Sam Lafferty obviously signed last year. Connor Clifton was signed 2 years ago. He's heading into the final year. Nicholas Ube-Kubala, which, was before the season, season ended. Ilya Labushkin, Eric Johnson, and then he says, gotta start hitting on these off-season additions more. I couldn't agree more. No doubt about it. And I'll give credit. I'll give Kevin credit. He went out, like Sam Lafferty was a good bottom 6 guy for this team. It just didn't work out. And at least he went out and got something for him. Just, you know what I mean? Like, not just settling for having him on this roster next year, kind of maybe being an extra guy. But actually, Mike Carrington he quote tweeted something. Take note, because I have a feeling we may see Flyers do an offer sheet. And this is, wow. We might be seeing a Flyers offer sheet here soon. I don't know who they're offer sheeting. Very interesting. They said this might be the offer sheets.
That makes me nervous because we have a lot of RFAs right now. So
yeah,
I'm hoping it's not like a Ryan McLeod or like a Devin Levi or like one of those guys.
I hope not either. Yeah, obviously everyone knows how I feel about Levi. I think he's the goalie of the future for this team. I can't see it being Devin. You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna? You know what I mean? What are they going to offer him that the Sabres wouldn't match? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that, actually.
What are they gonna offer him? $5 million? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see. You know what I mean? I don't see it being. But I could definitely see it being a Ryan McLeod, maybe Bowen Byram. Like it could be one of those guys for sure. And I would prefer to have to trade like Bowen Byram. You want that to be a trade. You do not want that to be, unless it works in your favor and he ends up signing a very team friendly deal, and then you match it and then you try and trade that contract. Sure, but you would want to trade Bowen Byram for a forward, most specifically, rather than lose him. Not lose him, but kind of forced to extend him via offer sheet, or not match, and then you're only getting maybe one first-round pick and a couple other picks, depending on the offer sheet.
Yeah. Like, you can't lose Bowen Byram for nothing. Like, that's the one trade I can confidently say that we've won, the Casey Middlestad Bowen Byram's trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Byram could be worth a lot more than Sabres fans might think, just because we're always saying, oh, he's like a Darlene Merchant, but he's like 23, 24 years old, 4th overall pick, won a Stanley Cup. Like, I think he can get us something solid, especially if we package like a first-round pick or second-round pick, prospects. We can't be losing them for nothing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. How do you feel about the Sabres in net right now? Again, we're at 12:01. Free agency has just started, too. So a lot of these deals will probably start to roll in like one after the other.
Yeah.
But while we wait for that, give me your thoughts on the goaltending situation right now. You're right now, it being obviously Alex Lyon probably being your starter next year, UPL potentially being the backup, and unless again Devin Levi has a fantastic offseason and comes into camp and looks that much better than UPL, possibly Levi being your starter in Rochester.
Yeah, honestly, I like Alex Lyon a lot as a backup. It just all depends on whether UPL is the guy he was last year or the guy he was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think he could be more in between. I don't think he's going to be a star goalie, but I think he could be a solid starter.
Yeah.
All I hope is it's not another 3 goalie rotation. Please, God, don't be another 3 goalie rotation.
Yeah, there's no way there's no way we're not going to go through that again. No way.
Because if Levi does win a spot, like they would have to waive Alex Lyon and potentially lose him like they lost Reimer last year. So I don't really know.
I'm interested to see what the Lyon contract is going to be. I have to imagine it's pretty similar to what Jake Allen got, right? So, your thoughts on predictions, like realistic predictions. I really don't think Ehlers is an option for them right now. But if you had to pick a realistic addition in that top 6, whether it's via free agency, you understand free agency, trading for an RFA, offer sheeting, like what's a realistic, target for you, and what's your unrealistic?
Well,
RFA, UFA, or trade.
Unrealistic, maybe like I don't know who else to say other than Ehlers, if I'm going to be honest. But realistic, I could see them going for like a Bowen Byram trade, maybe to Columbus for on the RFA list of Voronkov. I think that'd be a sneaky good addition actually. He had like 24 goals, 25 assists last year, so about 50 points. I think he could probably grow in a bigger role in the top 6.
Yeah.
Even another one on the RFA list, Will Cooley. I like him a lot. If you listen to After the Whistle, Craig Rivet talks about him all the time. I think he would be a good addition in a Bowen Byram trade. There's not much free agency that I could see us doing. Maybe like a Van Riemsdyk because he played under Jarmo Kekalainen. I don't know if Ivan Provorov is going back to Columbus or not. I don't remember that, but I don't know. I'm trying to just think of people that played under Jarmo Kekalainen.
That's a good point. You kind of look at Columbus's roster. I know he hasn't been there in a few years, but like what off that roster could you possibly see them maybe targeting the players that were there that he might like? You think Finnish players too, like maybe he has like a biasness towards Finnish players, which I guess could, you think Joki Harju is Finnish and he's no longer with the team, but I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. I think Jarmo's probably. I think Kevin's really leaning into Jarmo, today on what to do. I think you have to when your job's on the line. You have a guy like that on your staff that has so much experience, especially on days like today.
Yeah, I agree. I think so far, even the Peterka trade, I think Jarmo had a big say in that too because he likes those like big physical teams, and they've raved about that the entire offseason so far. So I think Jarmo's gonna have a very big voice. One thing I will say though, did you see him in the NHL draft in the room? Like, was he even there? Because I didn't see him on the screen.
I'm pretty sure he was there. Yes, he had to have been. There's no way he was not at the draft. There's no way.
Yeah, I would have thought that too, but I remember seeing Terry Pagula, Kevin Adams, Jerry Fortin, Jason Carmanos all at the front table. So unless Yarmo was like in the background somewhere, I'm not sure, but I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'm just tweeting out the show again right now. Tune into Two Goalies and Mike below. Tune in below. There we go. Boom. Not seeing anything yet for Sabres related other than what we've already discussed. But let's see here.
I wonder if the Sabres have interest in Jonathan Drouin from Colorado.
I mean, yeah, he's a veteran center, but I don't know, man. He's not. He's a third line center in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what his numbers show. Like, he's a third line center. He's not a guy that's going to really tip you over the edge. Like, as of right now, unless you're playing Tage Thompson at center, like, you have three. I think you have 3 second line centers with like McLeod kind of on the teetering point of second to third line. Like, you can fill in your second line guy, but he's probably much more, is better placed as your third line center.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, he did have pretty good numbers this year, but he was also playing with McKinnon on the wing.
Yes.
So like, he had 37 points in 43 games. So, and I think the previous year he also had a solid season. I don't know. I could see the Sabres doing that personally because they always go for more middle six guys rather than the big splash, which there already is in my club anyways. But I don't know. Just going down the list right now, there's really not much. I guess like the Donoff from Dallas. He looked pretty good in the playoffs. Yeah, it's pretty bad this year.
Yeah, it's again, it's not a very, and it kind of sucks too because like the NHL needs more days like today where like fans can get excited and they have reason to be excited, and you see these players. Like, I just wish there was a way to make July 1st a more exciting day, not just for obviously us as Sabres fans, but just hockey fans in general.
Yeah, like if you watch the NBA at all, the NBA has so many trades, so many big signings, and then the NHL, they like hype up like Jake Allen 5-year contract. Like it's just so much more boring to watch.
Yep. Any memorable, like, obviously I can't do that. Nothing's really rolling in yet. I get it. Not like you're expecting today to be like a memorable day. Like, obviously Stankoven extends, and it's a very team-friendly deal with the Hurricanes. Top restricted free agents right now, just tweeted out 3 minutes from the NHL page. Will Coyle, you have Capo Caco, Alex Lafreniere out of Los Angeles, Mason McTavish from Anaheim, Marco Rossi is a big one. Gabriel Velarde, I love the idea of Velarde. You obviously have Voronkov, who, out of Columbus, maybe a guy to keep an eye on, given his Yarmo's ties to Columbus. And you have Bowen Byram there, Luke Hughes, and Lucas Dostal, goaltender from Anaheim. So, out of those names, I think like Marco Rossi, a guy that Sabres have already been kind of tied to in previous rumors. Maybe that's a move they make. Gabriel Velarde. I like the idea of Gabriel Velarde a lot personally. Like, especially if you can't find a center, like maybe just try and drive as much play as you can from the wings. And again, you're probably forced to have Tage play, play center. At least try and add enough scoring to the wings to replace what you lost with JJ Peterka.
Yeah, I personally don't think they're going to go get Rossi because they did deny a trade with Rossi for Peterka, and they said they didn't want like an undersized player. So I personally would scratch Rossi off the list, even though I would love him. He could become a first-line center, but I think I don't really know who else there is.
Another thing, too, is you have a lot of prospects that you can deal, too, if we are still talking trade. Like, you have a bunch of guys in Rochester that want to make the jump to the NHL. You just don't have the roster spots available right now. Right now your first call-up is probably either, Rosine or Ostlund, right? Maybe you see Hellenius in a Sabres uniform at some point this year on like an injury call-up or something. But, you can't just keep on stockpiling these guys that have been there already now for a couple of years, especially Rosine. Like you have to do something with them, turn them into something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, I just saw right now multiple offers on the table for Brock Besser that are around 10 million average. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, agreed.
And also from Elliot Friedman, I don't think we are going to hear anything on Nikola Ehlers today. This is going to play out a bit.
I mean, he realizes he's the biggest target right now in free agency. It's he's earned the right to take his time. He doesn't have to rush.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially after we see what players like, obviously he's not the same type of player as Mitch Marner, but like you see what Mitch Marner just got on the open market, 12 million. Was it 12 million?
Yeah, 12 million.
Yeah, like, again, that's like making 14 million in a tax state like Buffalo. He's all tax free in Nevada.
Yeah, no, Ehlers is like your poor man's Mitch Marner for this free agency, especially with like literally nobody else. Also, Christian Dvorak signs a 1-year, $4.5 million contract with Philadelphia. I mean, I wasn't interested in it anyways, but
yeah. Give me one moment here. I'm just tweeting out the Ryan Johnson signing to a 3-year contract with an average of, you see here, 775K. 1 second. Talk to the people there, Joey, while I tweet this out.
Jonathan Toews is officially a Winnipeg Jet. That's actually awesome to see.
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice comeback story. Obviously, with everything he was the illness he had and everything he was going through, I think he was over, India, kind of recovering in a in a very unique way. We saw a story, post a lot of it to Instagram, so that's a pretty cool thing to see. And I'm sure he'll help that lineup. I mean, obviously brings a big leadership role. We don't really know what much that guy has left in the tank, but it'll be an awesome story for sure.
He's probably, what is he right now at this point of his career? Like a third line center, around there.
Bottom 6 for sure.
Yeah, probably. Oh,
let's see.
Oh wow, $5.4 million for Dvorak. Actually, that's a lot of money.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Really? That's surprising.
That's an overpay for sure. Wait, was he a restricted free agent, or was he a UFA?
I'm assuming he's a UFA, right?
Okay, I was gonna say maybe that was one of the offer sheets Philadelphia was talking about.
Potentially, yeah.
This makes me think, like, what's like Ryan McLeod gonna make now? Is he gonna make like $6 million? Because he's definitely a better player than Dvorak, that's for sure. That makes me a little nervous.
Keep on rolling them as long as you keep seeing those updates come up. I'm almost done here.
Yeah, just keep refreshing Twitter.
Yeah. It's always, I always like to subscribe to like Frank, Elliott, all those guys. They're usually pretty good and right on top of being the first to break things. Drager. I honestly subscribe to all their tweets.
Yeah, no, I subscribe to mostly Elliot Friedman, but
he's like the Adam Schefter of the NHL. So
yeah, 100%.
So
I'm kind of bummed out. I'm kind of bummed out that Patrick Kane, like, I would have liked him a lot actually as like a last option for us. He has like that playmaking.
I think we should probably just give up our hopes on Patrick Kane ever.
Yeah. I mean, especially signing like how many years did he sign for? Like 3-4 years or something like that?
I thought it was a 1-year deal.
Was it actually? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, he's up there in age. He's probably at the point in his career where he's just, for as long as he's got left to play, it's all going to be on like 1-year deals. And it makes sense for Detroit because you know what I mean? Like, if their season goes off the rails this season, they want to be able to deal him at the deadline, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's just my opinion, at least. Like that's smart. That's a smart move on both sides. Like, especially again, if you're Pat Kane and you want to go to a contender and things aren't going well in Detroit, you have the option of just going pretty much anywhere you want. I mean, like who isn't, at a decent price, who isn't going to take on Patrick Kane, who's won 3 cups, has won a Stanley Cup, who has scored a Stanley Cup winning goal. It's for me, that's just a no-brainer for any really team looking to add at the deadline and chase a cup.
Yeah, no.
Give me 1 second here, Joey. You want keep filled in?
Okay, for sure. For anybody listening, I'm really curious to see. Well, if we actually go after Brian Rust, I've heard the Pittsburgh Penguins are very interested in Constant Hellenius. Let me know in the comments if you guys would do that personally. I don't know. I like Hellenius a lot. I think he'd be like a second line center. I'm big into prospects, if you guys don't know. I like to do a lot of scouting. But a Constant Hellenius, I think that'll be a bit of an overpay. But if you do get like a top 6 winger in Brian Rust, he's a little bit physical. He's power forward, kind of. See a lot of highlights going power moves towards the net. I think he'd be a good fit. Me personally, I'm more of a Rickard Rakell fan. I think he's more skilled. You saw it at the World Championships. On Sweden, he looked very good. I think he's more of what we need, a little bit more playmaking. But
I believe you're talking about Hellenius, right?
Yeah, I was talking about Hellenius. Like, if we wanted to like go like for Brian Rust or Rickard Rakell.
Well, Rakell's got a no movement. Well, actually, right now, Brian Rust's no movement clause ended at noon today. So as of 16 minutes ago, he no longer has trade protection. Rakell, however, does. So you got to get him to waive that. I'm not dealing. There's no way I'm dealing Hellenius for Brian Rust. I'm just not. We have plenty of other, potential, former first round picks you can make in that trade. I'm not dealing my best forward prospect, personally, in my opinion, for Brian Rust.
Yeah, like I don't know how to feel about that because we do have a lot of prospects similar to like the Matthew Savoy trade. Like, I don't think you would have wanted to trade Savoy for Ryan McLeod either. But if it does help our team now, I don't know. I wouldn't be close to it 100%. I would have liked to get maybe a little bit more than Rust. Maybe they add like a second round pick or like, I have no idea, like a depth player.
Well, the difference with that trade though is like you were trading for a young Ryan McLeod, not a 33-year-old, Brian Rust who has done all his damage playing riding shotgun to Sidney Crosby. I mean, no offense against a guy like Tage Thompson, his ability to center, but he's just not. Sidney Crosby is one of the best playmakers to ever play the game. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the most complete players to ever play the game. You're not going to get the same output from Brian Rust. And I think on a good hockey team, which Pittsburgh wasn't last year or even the year before that, like Brian Rust is probably a third line guy.
He is.
You know what I mean? Like he's not a great defensively. He's not. He's there. He's a bigger guy. He plays a heavier game. He can score goals, but I personally would feel a hell of a lot more comfortable having Brian Rust in a third line role. That's just my opinion. But like right now, if that's your option, and you got to go overpay for Brian Rust, I just don't want Constant Hellenius a part of that deal. No way.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I would probably compare him to like maybe a Jason Zucker, former teammates. Obviously, I would say they're probably both like third line or middle 6 guys, especially at this point in their careers. I don't know. How would you feel if we went into the season with like Jason Zucker on the second line or even the first line?
I mean, not good. I'll be completely honest, not good at all. Take that off the screen here real quick. I would not feel good at all if we were if that was in our top 6. Stucker and Brian Rust. I know there's a connection there with them. No way. No. Mm-hmm. No, not interested. Yeah. That's just my opinion. I
wouldn't mind one of them like on the second line, but to have both of them in the top 6, I don't know, man. Like, I think the Sabres' problem is they keep building for the playoffs. They're always mentioning, we want to make the playoffs this year. We want to make the playoffs and build for the playoffs. Like, we're building for the playoffs while every other team in the league is building to win a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Like, our bar is way too low. Like, nobody reaches their goal. Nobody reaches their bar. And that's why every team builds for the Stanley Cup. Because if you keep building for the playoffs, like, maybe we can sneak in a wild card spot. Like, that's not going to happen. It might happen once every, 2, 3, 4 years. But
yeah,
we consistently make the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup, which we all want, like you need to actually do something big.
This is going to be such a disappointing day.
Yeah.
I just got to feel like, I've honestly been looking forward to today for, a while now. And, not excited at all about what we're probably going to hear today. Unless it's a trade. I think you can get me excited for a decent hockey trade. One that doesn't involve sending your best forward prospect to Pittsburgh for 33-year-old Brian Rust. That is my opinion. I'm not interested in that at all. He is not the answer, in my opinion. He's not going to replace 30-plus goals. The 30-plus goals you probably would have gotten from JJ Peterka. I know he hasn't scored 30 yet, but I don't think it's wrong to say that he would be a perennial 30-goal scorer on any other team, possibly even a 90-point player, 80 to 90 points. I think that's probably. I think he I don't want to say that his ceiling is 90 points, but I could definitely see him hitting that number on the right hockey team. You know what I mean? Like maybe he does do it in Utah once in his career on a good power play with the right center, just a stable environment. I definitely see him though as a consistent 75 to 85 point player.
Yeah, I agree. Like I thought coming into the season, if we had Peterka still, I thought he could have been an 80-point player this year, especially if the power play improves.
If you can figure out that power play for sure.
Yeah.
The Avalanche have extended Parker Kelly to a 4-year deal worth $1.7 million per. Again, nothing really groundbreaking as of right now, to say the least. So
Dallas, a new head coach. I don't know if you saw that. Glenn.
Yep, I saw that.
I don't know how you even say his name.
Ryan Johnson is a two-way deal for 25-26 and a one-way deal for 26. I think Harrington meant it's a two-way deal for next season. 20 yeah. Oh no, he tweeted it right. I'm sorry. I just can't read apparently. Ryan Johnson, his deal for next season, the start of his deal next season is a two-way deal for 25-26, and then from 2026 through 2028, it is a one-way deal, obviously, meaning, you can either play in Rochester, you can play in Buffalo but if you want to send him back to Rochester, you have to clear waivers.
Mm-hmm. That's similar to the, what's his name? The Rusek deal a couple of years ago.
We have a ton of comments in here. We talk about the report too that we brought up in pre-show. Haven't really gotten to that yet. The reports about Rob Ray are sickening. The team should be ashamed. I can't support this garbage fire. What are we talking about with Rob Ray? Have you seen anything?
The only thing I've heard about Rob Ray
John. Rob Ray has not been fired. It's somebody else. I forget his exact name. Pinter. I think it's Pinter. Like he was let go from his position of producing Sabres games after like over 35 years. And yeah, I encourage anybody to subscribe to the Buffalo News and read it. One of the reasons being they said that he was there was too much criticism of the team during broadcasts. Which, I mean, how can you blame fans? If that is the case, how can you possibly blame? You know what I mean? Imagine having to broadcast that shit every single season during a 14-year playoff drought, and you're going to sit there and be critical. Like, you should be giving them raises for having to deal with this every single year. You know what I mean? Like, as critical as you maybe want to be at some people on the radio, and God knows I've been, like, they have to still go. It's their job. They have to go out there and talk about this team. That's their job. Like, if I didn't want to do this podcast anymore, I could just stop. I still have a job. This is not my job. This is a hobby that, it's almost like a side hustle. Like, that's a job. Yeah. So tell me how you can expect anything but negative criticism for a team that has looked as awful as this team has for 90% of this playoff drought.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Andrew Peters, Craig Rivet on the Instigators, right? They they say they didn't get fired. They said they quit, but I don't know. They said they couldn't speak their mind what they really wanted to say. Mm-hmm. And obviously they got fired.
We got Hall Scamilton here. I love the name. Velarde and McTavish would be great. Right here. Russ for Hellenius. Nope, I agree. No way Hellenius for a 33-year-old. However, John Park agrees I would do it, but Kevin Adams won't. I don't think that you can just trade your best forward prospects for a 33-year-old Brian Rust who, you don't have Sidney Crosby on your team. You just don't. Like, maybe you get 20 goals out of him, 25 maybe. He's not a 30-goal scorer. He's just not. Yeah, I would prefer 20-something goals from my third line for sure.
Yeah.
Find a real legitimate, unquestionable top 6 guy. That's what this team needs.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Refreshing, obviously. We have some comments here in the on Twitter. Byram for Owen Tippett and Delorier. Do it. Would love that. Repeat. You kidding me? For Owen Tippett and Nick Delorier to your bottom 6, a guy who will drop the mitts with anybody in the league. Former Sabre. I love the idea of Nick Delorier in your bottom 6.
Yeah, me too.
Teams would fear coming to Buffalo if you had, Josh Stone, Nick Delorier. You got a much bigger blue line. You have like Kesselring, who isn't known for fighting but isn't afraid to fight and plays a heavier game. You got Connor Timmins, another guy who plays a heavy game. Like, teams would actually be afraid to come to Buffalo.
Yeah, Jordan Greenway too. He's like 6'5" monster.
I love this. My boy Trevor. The Sabres play Creed in the locker room for every game. They'd end the playoff drought. Creed more, buddy. Big Creed fan here. Everybody knows that. Oh God.
I see. Apparently, Los Angeles will land Cody Ceci today, and Edmonton Oilers are interested in Joseph Woll. Apparently,
they need a goalie.
Yeah,
they need a goalie. Obviously, you saw Johnny Gibson get traded to Detroit. Finally getting out of Anaheim and kind of ending that drama that's existed there for a while. I don't know. We kind of joked about it. I just saw another tweet. Joked about it last night on the podcast, but it was kind of serious. Like, how long into the season, Joey, would take you to completely give up on the season and start the hashtag tank for McKenna chance? You know what I mean? Like, like Thanksgiving? Is it Thanksgiving for you?
Yeah, I would say probably 20, 25 games into the season if it's like really rough.
If you're well below 500, you're like, all right, you have a shot at getting a generational guy in Gavin McKenna. A guy who, has as much hype around him as like Connor Bedard did. And obviously, you can go back as far as maybe Sidney Crosby. I mean, am I saying he's going to be Sidney Crosby? Sorry, Connor McDavid. Am I going to say he's going to be Connor McDavid? No, but like he isn't. Like, you have McDavid here, and then like here's McKenna, here's Bedard. That's where he is.
Yeah, he's Bedard's first cousin too, so that's pretty cool to see. I have a sneaky feeling Pittsburgh will get him because they always somehow have a generational player. But yeah, like I think if it's like 20, 25 games into the season and we're like well below 500, I think we have no choice but to fire Kevin Adams. Like, you need to do something big. They've said so many times, like, this is probably Kevin Adams' last year. So he's going to try to build a really good team to make the playoffs, obviously. So far, we have no indication that he's done anything big. Yeah, like, I don't really know what else to say about this team, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's not much to talk about.
Give us your thoughts on. We haven't really talked in length about Ryan Johnson. Obviously, you're a guy who pays attention to a lot of like what goes on in Rochester and the process. Like, give us your thoughts on Ryan Johnson. I'm personally happy they brought him back.
Yeah, me too. I didn't watch a lot of Rochester games this year. Steve watched more. But I did hear he didn't have a very good playoffs. I heard that.
Honestly, I watched a lot of the playoffs like you got, like Steve did, and like that round against Laval. Like, I mean, it was a Cal Clegg. Cal Clegg who had a great playoff?
Yeah, he had like five goals from like the point.
Nobody had a good second round, in my opinion. Like, nobody.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially Levi, but I'm not concerned about that. Like, he tore up the league the entire year. He had a good first round. But yeah, no, Ryan Johnson, how I said before, I think he could be like a 4th, 5th defenseman. Mm-hmm. He can do pretty much anything. He's not physical, but like he's good defensively. He's a good skater, puck mover. I think he's just very solid in general.
This is coming from @Puck Report NHL. It handles NHL news. breaking San Jose Sharks signed William Eklund to a 3-year, $5.6 million contract extension beginning in 2026, 2027. So William Eklund making almost $6 million. That's a steal, in my opinion, for San Jose, for a player that of his talent.
You know, Eklund's he's so good.
Yeah.
From Elliot Friedman, actually, hearing Brock Besser returning to Vancouver.
I don't mind that because I like the Vancouver Canucks, man. I have a lot of Canucks. I have some friends that are from Vancouver. Vancouver came into the league the same year as Buffalo. Actually, now it was just repeated by Friedman out of Dan Murphy. $7.25 million per year over 7 years for Besser in Vancouver. So Brock Besser is going to stay a Vancouver Canuck.
Yeah, I like that deal a lot for Vancouver, actually. I think the price is right around where he's worth, especially long term with the cap going up. That's going to be pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't know, kind of bummed out that another option for the Sabres is scratched off the list.
They're all just sliding off the table right now, man.
There's really only 2-3 players that would be semi-excited about if we got via free agency, obviously.
So this is from Peter Guelli. Obviously, we know that he is the chief operating officer of both the Bills, the Sabres, out of KeyBank Center, and the Bandits, et cetera. And he's 14 minutes ago, Peter Guelli tweeted this. I have said consistently we have a lot of things to work on at the Sabres. A critical broadcast is not one of them. Would have been happy to tell anyone that who asked. It's tough to respond to everything, but wanted to clear this up. So Guelli is denying any of the obviously the rumors coming out of the article that Pinter was let go due to the criticism of the team during broadcasts. Which, again, I mean, it would be an insane look to let go of a guy who's been with your team for over 35 years because you're upset about certain things being said aloud during. That'd be insanity with the team and how bad this team has been for over a decade.
Yeah, but who is saying the critical stuff during broadcast? Is it Marty?
Came out of the Buffalo News. They're saying hearing things around the organization that part of the reason why was because of just how critical they were being of the team during broadcasts.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see anything bad or critical. I always thought
you hear it in Rob Ray's voice sometimes. You know what I mean? It's not like they hide it, Yeah. They don't.
I mean, I think Marty and Duffer, I think they're pretty positive personally. I never really hear them say anything.
Well, they toe the company line, man. They really, really do.
Yeah. And
they toe the company line. Especially on their what is it, One Sabres Live or whatever the show is. The show is now on WGR. You rarely hear them be critical of the team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think that's part of the reason why, Andrew and Craig were kind of treated the way they were because the Sabres coverage, at least on the radio, for me is almost unlistenable with certain people. Not everybody, with certain people. I don't mind Bulldog. I don't mind Jeremy White and stuff like that. But other than that, man, it's just 90. And I get it. The Bills are good, but even today, how much Sabres coverage is happening today on that radio station? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if they're not doing anything, that's all you should be talking about, in my opinion.
Yeah. I do like Joe DiBiase too on WGR. I think he's critical too. Not too critical, but I don't know. And what you said about Rob Ray, how is a man not supposed to be frustrated at all? Remember when
he played through years where he played on Sabres teams that, took so much pride in what they did and their blue collar and they skate. You never questioned their effort ever. And he's had to sit here and watch some of these awful teams just where you constantly do question those things. I don't blame him for being critical.
Yeah, I remember.
How can you blame him?
Yeah, I remember that one play where Thompson scored in his own net. Rob Ray was just screaming, give them the puck, give him the
puck. Yeah,
yeah, and he was losing his mind on the radio. And I remember Rob Ray. He kind of went missing for a good chunk of the season.
Yeah, I heard certain things. There were some rumors of why he was. I heard it was more like a personal matter, but and obviously John Scott said on his podcast, a little almost 2 months ago that he was texting Ray, and Ray said this past season was his last. So, I mean, I hope that's not the case, because I would hate to have his tenure as a broadcast, working the team in a color commentary role to end the way it did without no announcement, nothing. I mean, we were able to honor Ray, having him going to the Buffalo, the Sabres Hall of Fame this past season, which was awesome. They did a great job with that. But I'd hate to have his tenure end, as a commentator, end the way it did without us really giving him a proper goodbye.
Yeah, not even the way it did, but he's still so young too. Like, I thought he would have been here for years. Him and Don Levy. I've always loved Rick Jenner and Rob Ray together. I thought they had the best chemistry. But like him and Don Levy, you could see them kind of growing together as a duo, and I really started to like them this season. Rob Ray, he's just like one of a kind, man. Everybody loves that guy. I met him in person once, actually. He's such a nice guy. You could tell I was like just a kid, nervous to talk to him. He's big. Yeah. And he just like starts conversations off. He's the best. But like to see him go would be terrible. Like he makes every game, every little play, he makes it like interesting to watch.
Yeah. So, I see Rob all the time at Harbor Center. Yeah, obviously I've said it on the show a couple of times. I help run the FHL now, and his son plays in it. And you almost want to ask him. You know what I mean? They stand next, like you almost want to ask him, like, hey, you coming back next year? Like, what's the deal? Is these rumors from John Scott true? Like, I really hope that they're not, man, because I think Rob is probably one of the bright spots of that broadcast. And if I have to listen to I'll listen. I won't even listen to. I'll literally put the TV on mute if you make me sit through like a Marty Baron color commentator. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Nah, the couple of games that Marty was broadcasting was terrible. Like, I love Marty, but
unlistenable.
Yeah,
great guy, but just unwatchable, unlistenable with him in that position.
I'd rather even have that guy from the Bills that was there one game instead of Marty. I don't remember
Steve Tasker.
Yeah, I'd rather him than Marty, and I wasn't even a big fan of Steve Tasker, but like I thought he was
no, thank you. Yeah. I couldn't do it. No shot. So. I'm going to let the dogs in here real quick, Joey. You want to entertain the fans here, the people that are watching. Thanks for all 1,300 of you that have tuned in so far.
Yeah, Tyson Kozak extension, actually. 3-year deal.
For the Sabres?
Yeah.
Come on.
It says details to come, so I don't know how much money it's for. But honestly, I like Kozak as like a 4th-line center or like 13th, 14th forward. His infamous first NHL goal that didn't even count was really fun to watch. I don't know. I love the way he plays. We need everybody on the team to play the way he does. Go to the net. He works his ass off. He has some skill too. He's fast. He's defensively responsible. He's just like if you want the Sabres to play like a certain player, it'd be like him and Dalian personally. But yeah, like thinking about the decor going into the season, I could see them going with the Dalian Samuelson pairing again, which I don't think any of us want to see.
I don't want to see Samuelson ever in a Sabres uniform ever again.
Yeah,
like honestly.
Just to think about that for another 82 games is like excruciating.
So, yeah, nothing. Corey Perry seems to be heading to the Kings per Bob McKenzie. I love it. Bob is kind of like semi-retired. He's one of my favorite insiders. He just kind of like comes out of the out of the shadows near like on days like today and just usually drops a few bombs here and there. But Bob McKenzie is reporting that Corey Perry seems to be heading to the Los Angeles Kings, which, it's a good spot for him. I mean, I think his time in Edmonton was over with. They tried to get it done there, and they're going to shake things up a little bit with that roster. I think they still need to find a goalie. I don't know who that goalie is, but they got to find a goalie, man. They can't do it with Stuart Skinner again. You just can't.
Mm-hmm. And that means LA's probably going to the Stanley Cup Finals, knowing Corey Perry's record now, like 5 straight years in Stanley Cup Finals.
So I'm looking. So we got Tyson Kozak. You said I'm looking for that.
They didn't say anything about the salary yet, but they did say 3 years. I would probably guess
a 2-way deal.
Yeah, I would probably guess it's a 2-way deal.
Yeah, there's just no way that maybe with the final year being a one, I don't know if it's a 3-year deal. Maybe the first 2 years are 2-way, maybe with the final year, maybe I don't know, but there's no shot that you can honestly have that guy. I'm not seeing anything. Where did you see that? Who tweeted that out?
Let me check. I forgot.
Tyson Kozak. Why am I not seeing that? I literally like subscribed to like all of the Sabres writers, and I don't know why I'm not seeing Tyson Kozak. Latest. Are you sure?
Where did I see that? I know I saw it for sure. It said 3-year deal.
Well, it hasn't been made official.
I saw it on Instagram. It says Tyson Kozak is getting a 3-year deal per sources. Details to come.
Okay, so we don't know that for sure. An hour ago, this kind of slipped through the cracks. Not that it really means anything, but Sabres have signed defenseman Jack Rathbone to a two-year 2-way deal. So another guy that obviously will stay in Rochester. Don't get caught up by the parody. There's a parody account.
No, on Instagram it was like a valid account, like Sabres Access. I don't know if you guys know, but like they don't like just spew information from nowhere.
Well, I mean, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter, like nothing.
Yeah, no, I don't see it on Twitter either. I'm not sure.
Like Harrington would be all over that, I'm sure. I mean, obviously, Tyson Kozak isn't a big name where Elliot Friedman's very overly concerned if he misses that or not. But I'm not seeing that anywhere. But from Pierre LeBrun, Corey Perry has indeed signed with the LA Kings as per Bob McKenzie's initial report. So far, so the biggest signing of the day has been Blockbuster going back to Vancouver, right? I mean, nothing else really substantial has happened yet.
Joel Armia signing with Los Angeles as well.
Wow, Dan Vladar, 2 years, $3.35 million per with Philadelphia. So another goalie off the market.
Not that we need one, but
no. I mean, we kind of filled that hole. So I think that this edition of Top Six is, again, unless they have something planned for Nikolai Ehlers, I think that you're probably looking this to be a trade or an offer sheet. I'm not going to put all my hope into an offer sheet, but maybe that's where that comes in. I don't know. Let's take a look back at the RFAs again.
Like I just doubt they would trade Peterka, their top line winger, for a defenseman, knowing they're not going to get a forward eventually, like in return somewhere.
I mean, I guess the situation with Peterka was just too far gone, which is unfortunate because he's such a good hockey player, in my opinion. I think that I know he's not a great 2-way player, but I think he could have developed to be a better 2-way player. He's only 23.
Yeah.
So, a lot of guys staying put. Jake Allen stays with the New Jersey Devils. You got you got Brock Besser staying with Vancouver. A couple other guys stayed put.
Martin Ferry 7-year extension in Washington as well.
Who took an extension? Martin Favre. Yeah. 7-year, $42 million. Wow. That's a nice chunk of change for him.
Yeah. I don't know much about him, if I'm going to be honest. But
I
don't know much about him, if I'm going to be honest.
I mean, he's young. I'm not too familiar with his play either, personally. Man, this is a boring deadline.
This is like absolutely not.
I wanted to bring up the RFAs again here.
I don't think I've ever seen a deadline this slow before. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
Again, we talked about it earlier. It's a day that the NHL should try to embrace, and it's unfortunate that there's not as much excitement in today. Like, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if it's much of like the NHL's fault because everybody's just re-signing their players because they don't want to lose them. I think it's just more management, which honestly, if I was a Sabres, I wouldn't want to lose my players either. So
No, again, I don't disagree with you. Obviously, the best. You look at the best current RFAs right now, forward wise. We talked about it earlier. Like, I love the idea of Gabriel, and they have so much money tied up in Connor Hellebuck. Like, can you look it up right now, real quick? What does their cap space look like right now in Winnipeg?
1 sec. $23 million in cap space.
23 million.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they have a decent amount of cap space. I guess I was
But they do have like a lot of UFAs though.
That's true.
They got Brandon Tanev, Ehlers, Mason Appleton, Gabriel Vilardi, Rasmus Kupari, all those guys. Chris Drager, their backup goalie. They do have, so they're probably after all those like re-signs, they're probably gonna have about 5-6 million maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can I keep going down the list of current RFAs? Obviously, you see the best being obviously Velarde, Marco Rossi. I mean, this could end up being a situation where maybe they do go trade for Marco Rossi. I don't know. I don't know what you do here.
What would that even take to get Marco Rossi though? Like, I don't think you could do him and Byram straight up because I don't think Minnesota would want to do that.
Like, that was like the problem with making the pick at the draft. Like it was like you wanted to use 9th overall as an asset or to package in a trade, and here we are a few days later still trying to figure out who we're acquiring for our top 6. And I said it to Hurls last night, man. I am not gonna sit here and pretend that we need to put all our eggs in the Jack Quinn basket again. I'm done doing that.
Yeah,
we've been hoping for bounce back years from Jack Quinn for what, this going into a third year, like third time we're having this same conversation. Like, I'm not having this conversation anymore.
Yeah, like
I'm not.
There's always the possibility that he's going to bounce back, but you can't rely on that to happen. Like any good team would have him starting on like the third line, and that's our problem. We just have too many young players. I don't really like. We keep giving away those young players, and they keep turning into good players.
Yeah,
because we don't know how to develop them properly in the NHL. Like Benson, I'm a big Benson fan, but he shouldn't have been in the NHL, I don't think.
No, I think on a well-oiled machine of a hockey team, he would have gone back to junior. I think, and the rules suck the way they're out, that he should have been able to play in the AHL. Like, obviously, like there wasn't a ton for him to gain other than maybe go chase a championship in the WHL rather than come to the NHL. I don't think anybody's disputing his abilities. Like, a young kid like that, you just got to grow into your body more, like he's already small.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's doing wrong. His underlying numbers look great, but I would have, you got to hope and pray that he can find his scoring touch, because right now he might be in your top 6. And I don't know, man. Paterka was like the one guy you did right by from a forward perspective, right? Like you let him play in Rochester. You developed him. You brought him to Buffalo, and the guy thrived in a top 6 role. Really, honestly, anybody he played with, he played well. Like, it's not like, he was bad with any particular line. He was a very versatile player offensively where he can make it work with just about anybody.
Yeah, and like, oh shit. Yeah, no, Benson, like, he survived in the NHL 100%. Like, he's already an elite defensive player, but you need people. You need your prospects to thrive when they get to the NHL, not just like
big news. Vladislav Gavrikov has signed with the New York Rangers, which has been rumored now for like 2 days. So Gavrikov is a New York Ranger.
What's the deal for that?
Not seeing any numbers yet. It was just released by, I think, with Pierre LeBrun. So nothing in terms of numbers yet, but he will be going to the New York Rangers. Excuse me. So our boy Johnny Lazzie's pretty happy right now, I have to imagine. 7 years, $49 million for Gavrikov with the Rangers.
How much is that for AAV?
Take a look. You're asking me to do math right now. I'm not great at it, so.
I think 7x7. 7x7.
Is it?
Yeah, that's honestly a really
You're
solid
right.
deal. I thought, like, I remember hearing that he was going to be the highest paid free agent potentially, but knowing that I got $7 million, I think Healer's probably going to get around 9.
Yeah. So we got to ban somebody from the chat for being a dirtball, fortunately. All right. I don't care about politics in the chat. We're here to talk about hockey. So bring back the tampering. Minnesota has been quiet. Yep, Minnesota has been pretty quiet. Let me see here. Again, I think that's Marco Rossi. They did. I think the issue with him was he wants term with Minnesota, and they didn't want to give him term. Like the player itself wasn't the issue. I just don't think they want to invest a ton of term into a smaller guy. Was he 5'9", 5'10"? Like, he's not your prototypical center in today's NHL. But 61 points he produces. I would have loved. I was a giant Marco Rossi guy coming out of that draft. We had Andre Torini on the podcast who coached both him and Jack Quinn for the Ottawa 67s. And, he spoke glowingly about both players, but you could tell that, he knew Marco Rossi was easily the better of the two, and a guy that would be willing to potentially not be a franchise center, but no doubt be a consistent top 6 center.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. There's somebody spamming right now. I'm sure you can see it, right? So unfortunately, it just doesn't stop. So this is actually some disgusting stuff. So I'm sorry. Hopefully nobody who is watching live sees that in the chat. We're trying to keep up with that. I'm assuming this is a person who probably just kind of keeps on creating fake accounts and
probably. I got a little distracted. I didn't even really hear what you said for the second part because I just saw that.
No. It's unfortunate. You got scumbags out there who Yeah. But yeah, block them and remove them from the chat. But unfortunately, what they'll do is they'll go create another account and they'll come back in the chat and continue to spam it. That's what they do. Anyways, no, Marco Rossi, just a guy who I was big on him coming out of that draft, and I already said this, but he was a guy that was one of the more NHL ready centermen, and we were desperately needed center that year. We desperately needed a center. So it was, for me, it was like a no-brainer, making that decision. An absolute no-brainer. And it was kind of like, I kind of not compared it, but like, it's kind of funny. You think back to the Josh Allen Bills draft where, it was him or Josh Rosen both having the first, Roger Goodell kind of fucked with fans a little bit and was like, Josh, and he kind of hesitated because you're keeping everybody on edge because he's going to be Josh Rosen or Josh Allen. And then he said Allen, and obviously the narrative around him, which I haven't seen being wrong, you're like, Buffalo had a meltdown. But I remember watching that draft in the NHL and hearing him say from the Ottawa 67s, and you're like, okay, it's going to be one of those two guys. We think we're going to get the guy, and then it wasn't, unfortunately. So, here we go. More. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah, I do.
People just get a life.
Exactly.
Get a life.
I don't understand even what the point of doing that is.
Get a life, man. What are we doing here?
But yeah, no, for Rossi, they lowballed him for the actual money amount too. Did they not try to give him $5 million or something like that, and he wanted 6 or 7? I would give him 6 or 7, 100%. Mm-hmm. I would have no problem doing that because he's already a 60-point player, second line center, and he has potential to be a first line center. And people forget his development was hindered because he almost died.
Wow, big blockbuster trade possibly coming up. Keandre Miller. They're speaking about sending Keandre Miller to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, wow.
So love to see what that return might be. Something else, hearing New York working on sending Keandre Miller to. I was a big Keandre Miller guy too. I liked his game coming out of coming into his draft year. Obviously hasn't worked out in New York. Obviously coming off of winning a President's Trophy to the season they had last year is nothing less than disappointing. With free agency open, hearing New Jersey is making a strong pitch at Connor Brown. And then Elliot Friedman follows up, quote tweets that and says 4 years for $3 million per year per Gene Principal, who is a Sportsnet reporter out of Edmonton. So looks like Connor Brown is going to New Jersey, 4 years for $3 million per. So
that's a lot of money. Is that not a lot?
Trades are happening today.
Yeah.
Trades are happening. You just kind of have to hope for the best that Kevin Adams is doing his best to. Let's have that conversation too. That if you do end up bringing back Byram, if that is the direction they go in, that is not a bad top four, man. That is a really good top four defensive pairing. Yeah,
especially with the chemistry Byram and Dahlin have. Like, I would love that top four of Byram, Dahlin, Howard Kessler, and then even like a Connor Timmins and who's your third pair left-handed defense right now? Probably Samuelson. Mm-hmm. If you can somehow get I don't know, even Dennis Gilbert back, I would love that.
Agreed.
I wonder if Keandre Miller trade opens up the market for Byram now that he's probably the most coveted left-handed.
Let me see. I'm not really seeing anything else.
Outside. Yeah, Besser did sign with Vancouver.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, I'm just replying to one of the comments.
Oh, okay. Minnesota Wild tweeted out, this is yesterday, so we took the prospects to an escape room. I thought that was a joke, like they're protecting their RFAs. No, okay, they're talking about development camp. My bad. 5 minutes ago from David Pagnotta, Colorado signs forward TJ Teenan and defenseman Jack Alcan to 1-year contracts. Obviously, I don't know who those people are, so who cares? Bolduc, that trade. Let me see if I can find it.
I saw a lot of people saying they were interested in him in a Byram deal too.
Yep, I saw that too just now. What are your thoughts? I mean, Montreal's, this is from Bleacher Report Open Ice. Montreal's 25 and under core. Nick Suzuki, Noah. Look at this team, and they're in our division. Nick Suzuki, Noah Dobson, Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson, Mr. Rookie of the Year, Ivan Demidov, Yurov Slavkovsky. Sorry, I can never say his name. Katie Cooley, Jaden Struble, David Rainbacher, and then Zach Bolduc. I mean, that is an exciting team if you're a Montreal fan.
Yeah, like going back even a year or two, Sabres had exactly that. And now look where we are now, like trading away all of our young players.
Bolduc had 19 goals last season with 14 with fourth line minutes. His projected wins against replacement is like an 80%, or his WAR percent is 86%. Again, I'm not too familiar exactly what all that means, but obviously it's good. Great, like you got to be excited if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
You said 19 goals in fourth line minutes.
With fourth line minutes, yeah.
Oh, that's actually insane.
Fantastic. Toronto closing in on forward Michael Pizzetta, ex of Montreal. So I mean that's a kind of a lower level deal. Nothing to be too excited about there. Right home about. I think we're gonna take you right till about 1:30, people. Which will be an hour and a half past the start of free agency. But probably won't go much too further after that, just because I think that you're probably not going to get too much more unless a trade happens. I mean, like again, Ehlers kind of already announcing that he's gonna, it's probably gonna be go into tomorrow and maybe the day after before he makes a decision. Who knows when he does that? You look currently at the remaining unrestricted free agents. You have, again, Ehlers at the top of that list, waiting for it to load. You have Mikael Granlund, who had 22 goals and 66 points last season. Again, I wouldn't mind Granlund. Why not?
Yeah.
He had playoff experience. I know he's not a big center, but
did he not just sign with Vancouver? I thought he re-signed.
Wasn't that Connor Garland?
Was that Connor Garland? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got the two Garlands mixed up.
No. This is Mikael Granlund.
Okay.
Between both San Jose and Dallas last year, he actually played 83 games. Obviously traded, but had 22 goals for 66 points.
Tanner Jeannot to Boston, 5 years, $3.4 million.
Oh, that's right up their alley. They're gonna love that kid.
Yeah,
he plays Boston.
Typical Boston Bruin.
Here's the guy, Remy's dad, my favorite deadline deal, Bob Corkum to the Sabres. I remember that, man. I don't even know if you were born, Joey. That was a Bob Corkum. Got a Bob Corkum name drop in the chat. I love it. From John Park, Montreal has leapfrogged the Sabres by 10 miles. And mind you, that was a team that Buffalo was expected to finish ahead of last year. We were expected to be a better team than Montreal. We were expected to be a better team than Ottawa. And these are teams that are, again, to John's point, are leapfrogging us. Probably in projections of, where they'll finish in the standings next year. Philadelphia makes it official. We have agreed to terms with center Christian Dvorak on a 1-year contract worth $5.4 million. Again, that's a lot of money for him, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you guys talk about the Marner trade yet? What do you think about that?
We did. Marner is like, I don't know. It was a whole weird situation. Toronto essentially almost kind of like extorting Vegas for tampering. If you don't make this deal or give us something back, we're gonna come at you with accuse an allegation of tampering, which obviously is a huge thing. If you're an NHL franchise, you lose draft picks, you get fined, the player gets suspended. I listen. I'm sick and tired of certain people trying to pretend that living in a no tax state doesn't really matter. Vegas is a fun city to play in. It's a fun city. It's a very good hockey team for just a few years removed from winning a Stanley Cup. I mean, it's easy to accept a trade to Vegas, sign and trade to Vegas. Yeah, that's not that difficult of a decision if you're Mitch Marner. Again, depending on what happens with Jack Eichel, if he decides to, I think he's heading into his last year of his deal, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that they're signing an extension actually.
So, with Eichel?
Yeah, that they're working on.
I can see it. I don't know how he take a long-term deal. He has been on record a couple times saying he would love to at some point to play for Boston. Obviously, for any kid, out of Massachusetts at one point dream, if you're a hockey player, dreams of being a Boston Bruin. They're gonna love Tanner Jeannot, man. He is literally exemplifies the type of player that the Bruins fans love.
Yeah,
plays with an edge, man. He can hit. He can pop probably 10 to 15 goals for if you need him to. He is exactly the type of player that Bruins fans are gonna love.
Yeah, he's a typical Boston Bruin, Philadelphia Flyer, just physical, hardworking.
Yeah. It's July 1st and we're already out of it. That's funny. We got a request here from Gar. Joey, can you list the transactions so far since free agency open? Get to it, Intern. Update everybody.
All right. Just got to scroll up.
Just got to find the tracker. Oh, Mikael Granlund. His previous contract was $5 million. Yeah, the 61-point season, not bad. He's 33, but how would you feel if their two moves again? I'm not against like a Brian Rust move, but this cannot be your only offensive move. However, Mikael Granlund and Brian Rust, that makes me feel a little bit better about the season. Let me see here. I don't know. Who are they going to sign? Who are they going to sign? Who are they going to overpay to play here?
All right, so I think the first transaction of the day was Thatcher Demko resigning in Vancouver.
I'm surprised they paid him as much as they did too. I love Thatcher Demko. Everyone knows I'm a big Thatcher Demko guy. I was honestly surprised that they, they paid him as much as they did. Have the Sabres made the Alex Lyon trade official? I don't think they have yet, have they?
No, they haven't. I'm actually surprised that they haven't done that yet. Yeah, no, $8.5 million for Thatcher Demko. That's a lot of money for a goalie because goalies are so weird. They could have good years, bad years. Boy, I think, and the next transaction, Connor Garland, 6-year contract with Vancouver, 6 years, $6 million. Joel Hanley, don't even know who that is. Signs a 2-year extension with $1.75 million. Boston Edmonton discussing a Victor Arvidsson deal that hasn't happened yet. I don't think. Jake Allen, 5-year, $1.8 million contract. That's actually only $1.8 million. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to sign for like $5 million or something like that.
I'm actually tweeting. Has anyone actually made that trade, made that signing official yet? Because that is. I mean,
Logan Mailloux traded to St. Louis.
2 years. LA signs Joel Armia, another former Sabre. 2 years in LA for $2.5 million per.
All Sabres have done so far is trade Sam Lafferty for a 6th-round pick. Re-signed Ryan Johnson, 3 years, $775,000.
The 5-year deal for Tanner Jeanette in Boston for $3.4 million per.
Yeah, basically Jargon. Nothing big has really happened yet. Brock Besser re-signed, obviously, and Gavrikov signs with New York, 7 years, $7 million. Keandre Miller to Carolina. We don't even know what that trade is yet. And then obviously Tanner Jeannot, that just happened.
Yikes, man. Yeah, so far 3 nopes on an Alex Lyon confirmation. Not good. Not good, Sabres. Not good. Can you please at least make that official?
It's funny that we're going crazy over a backup goalie right now. Like, that's what we have to be excited about.
Oh, man. Can you imagine if he decides, like, you know what? Nah.
You know what? I'm going to go to Vegas instead.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Hey, Victor Olofsson licking his lips right now, seeing those 2 playmakers and Eichel and Marner on his wings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
Did you see Nick Cousins to Ottawa? 1 year, $825.
Oh, I love Nick Cousins, too.
Yeah.
Nice,
he was
player.
somebody that I wanted, like, 2 years ago. Similar to, like, Sam Bennett, just really physical.
Yeah. So, I have a source, as you know. I'm now catching up on my text messages, man. It's a shit show right now. Just people complaining. Team going to this Lion official or
Did Joey hatch? No, we haven't even made any big
no
yet.
Nothing, man. You signed your own. You traded Lafferty. Those are the big moves so far.
Like no JJ Paterka replacement whatsoever.
So from Eric Vana, Granlund is about all they can do. That would do anything for me at forward via free agency. Again, like I got into a Connor last night about Brian Rust. Like that is not enough. But if you get me 2 33-year-olds on with playoff experience, leadership qualities on and off the ice, guys that can score, put the puck in the net, can produce. I mean, feeling a little bit better about this team if you bring both those guys in, Mikael Granlund and Brian Rust. I feel a little bit more better about the season. I don't know you guys in the peanut gallery. Tom Lean trade asked for a trade next year. Yeah. This franchise would melt, sell the team. Hopefully Lion backed out. I don't know, man. That means you're riding UPL and Devin Levi in the next season. And, you know, as much of a Levi guy as I am, and I'd love to see him in Buffalo next year. I just don't think it's the right move. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he could totally win the game, win the position in camp, and just have a better camp than UPL, and maybe UPL's the guy looking out. But I don't know. I don't know, man.
I think UPL's a starter next year. They've talked.
I think it's Alex Lyon. I personally think it's Alex Lyon. I think Alex Lyon is just, if he does sign, which again we have no idea. Nothing has been made official.
This is like the typical Buffalo free agency under Kevin Adams. Like absolutely nothing. Marner wearing number 93 in Vegas. It's actually pretty cool.
Marner wearing 93 in Vegas. What did he wear again? In he won 16, right?
Yeah,
16 in Toronto.
Yeah,
that is an interesting number.
Same number as Matthew Savoy, Sabres legend.
Sabres legend Matthew Savoy.
Yeah, but I don't think we really need we need one good forward addition. We have enough scoring already, like depth-wise. Like we have 3 defensemen that are capable of having 40-plus points. Like we have a lot of scoring on the back end. We have a lot of depth forwards like Ryan McLeod, Jordan Greenway, Jason Zucker. That's like a really good third line. Josh Doan, he could probably notch like 10, 15, maybe 20 goals if he has a good season.
Agreed.
I don't know. I think the Sabres are just banking on whether or not Yuri Kulik has a big breakout season, and Zach Benson too.
Mm-hmm.
Because Benson, we all know that he's capable of having like 60 points. It's just whether or not he's physically ready. Like we all know he's probably the smartest player on the team other than Dahlin. So it's just he just has to put all those together. And Kulik, I don't know. I think the big problem for the Sabres is just their power play and special teams, to be honest.
And they brought back the same coaching staff.
Yeah. I don't know how Lindy even let that happen. Like, I don't think he has any say in that.
How will you? Oh, I'm going to put out a tweet right now for anybody who wants to respond in the chat. We'll answer any questions. I'm putting it out on Twitter right now. But how will you feel if the only moves made today are the Lafferty trade, Ryan Johnson signing, and the eventual Alex Lyon sign?
I think it just depends on whether or not the big free agents go somewhere else, because you can't really fault the Sabres for not doing much if the whole league isn't doing much. But then again, the Sabres really need to be desperate. So I don't know. Yeah. I can see the Sabres not doing anything today.
I mean, do something, Darcy. Jesus Christ. How would you feel if that is all they do? Like you personally, Joey, as a Sabres fan, a guy who hasn't been through the suck as much as I have. How would you feel? Like where's your confidence level right now with their ability to add to this top 6 and make this team better right now? And where is it going to be this time tomorrow if they don't make any moves?
I don't think they're going to do anything big today, but I do have a little bit of hope that they're going to get some sort of top 6 addition. Like, I'm sorry, if us fans know that we desperately need something, and then they obviously know with all their analytics and everything like that, like they know that they need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Especially trading Peterka. I don't think they would have traded their best offensive forward other than Thompson if they don't think they're going to get anything in free agency or a trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit of hope they're going to do something eventually.
You would hope.
Yeah. Like, again, I could see like a Will Cooley from New York and like a Bo Byram trade, and I would be perfectly fine with that. But we really just lack a top end forward to play with Thompson. This again, like the same problem we had with Jack Eichel. He really didn't have much to play with. Like Sam Reinhart, he was good, but he wasn't like that top end first line forward when he played with us. Jeff Skinner was really the closest he had to that. Like I remember at one point Eichel played with like Jimmy Vesey and Dominic Cahoon or Connor Sherry. Like he never really had anybody.
Dominic Cahoon.
Yeah.
There's a name. There's a name. Remember when Sabres fans lost their mind when they weren't bringing back Dominic Cahoon?
And now he's playing in like Switzerland or something.
I mean, still no news on Bernard Docker either. I would love to know what's going on with that.
Well, I heard they're not going to be re-signing him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes somewhere else.
Well, I mean, they let him walk into unrestricted free agency. I mean, that's such a bad look if they lose him for nothing. After that return for Dylan Cousins and the criticism you took there. Ring Incam door. What is this? Oh man, that's such a bad look. Really is a bad look. About 15 minutes before I think we're gonna get out of here. Yeah. I mean, I don't have much left to talk about, honestly. This is just depressing. Like, I mean, here, we didn't talk to you yet about your thoughts on the draft, Joey. Give us your thoughts on how you thought the Sabres made out in the draft.
I don't know if you're like familiar with any of the prospects we got, but we seem to really go after like big physical defensemen. Obviously Radim Murka is like 6'6". He's getting a lot of comparisons to like Tyler Myers. He also wears number 57.
Well, as of right now in practice or in development camp, he's wearing 57.
Yeah. I really like him a lot. He was the guy I wanted the most. Him and like Roger McQueen probably. Roger McQueen reminded me a lot of Tage Thompson, or like even like an Alex Barkov. I could see a little bit more. He's more of a playmaker. But Radim Murka, I think he could be like a Mo Sider kind of guy, especially if he adds like more of a physical game because he's not extremely physical. And Sabres fans would probably get mad at him for that because Owen Power's kind of the same way. I think we have like a top 4, maybe top pairing defenseman in Murka. And like a Dahlin Murka Power Kessel ring pair for the next like 10 years would be sick. And then our second round pick, David, and I forgot his last name, but he said himself like
he was the third round pick, so we
third round, Third round.
David Bedkowski.
Yeah.
Loyal to he made comments like loyal to this. He didn't practice yesterday. I guess he was sick. I was definitely really interested to watch him play, but obviously he wasn't able to. But his ability to lay the body was something that was really, and like he said all the right things during his interviews too after being drafted. He's literally said everything you could say right as a Sabres fan, what you're looking for out of the future Sabre. Which things you're hearing, like you hear the way he talked, and you're thinking, man, if this kid was on the ice when Tage Thompson got knocked out by Noise and when they played New Jersey, like he might have went full Drew Stafford, like when Drew Stafford jumped on Chris Neal. Yeah, like, he might have been the first guy on Noise, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and like I remember Elite Prospects, like I don't know if you know Elite Prospects, who they are, like a scouting agency. Like they said,
we've had Cam Robinson on before.
Yeah, they said themselves he's like the most vicious player in the draft, which is really cool to see that we got him. And they had him ranked like 46, and we got him at 71. So that could be a potential steal. Like, I don't know if he has the offensive upside, but I could see him being like a 4th, 5th, like shutdown physical defenseman. Yeah. Honestly, I could see a little bit to like Braden McNabb maybe, but just right-handed. He's just big, mean. I don't know. He excites me a lot.
Oh man, thought I saw the good news. Sorry. I like Benkowski. I like that goalie Samuel Malak that they got. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. The QMGHL. I thought I got to watch him yesterday. I thought he looked really good on his edges, poised. Like I think I saw him make almost every single. When I watched him, I think I saw him make every single first save. You know what I mean? Granted, they weren't doing like a ton of rebound drills, but like they were doing puck tracking drills for looking through screens, a lot of edge work. Like I said, the first half an hour of the skate was strictly working on strides, skating, no pucks, and then the last half of the practice they introduced pucks. They broke them into stations, 4 stations between 5 goalies. And anybody who's a goalie, I said this last night, it's tough when you don't have a crease. It's tough. You kind of depend on it to know exactly where you are in your net. But he really held his own, in any situation he was thrown in. So it was I liked him a lot too. I thought Mirka he's an incredible skater. Looked good on his edges. Mm-hmm. Again, you can only expect so much in the first day of development camp, especially when you're only, you only have pucks for a half an hour. Yeah. They're not playing contact out there at that moment. You'll see some of that, when they have the scrimmage. But no, I thought Mirka looked great. I liked Samuel Malak quite a bit. There are a bunch of guys had different guys had their moments out there. So no, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Hopefully, I'll try and get there at least one more time. Between today and the end of it. I think it's on Thursday.
Yeah. I think Mirka, honestly, he could push for a roster spot maybe even this year. I do think he would benefit from going back to
He shouldn't. He should not have him in Buffalo this year. I think you're fine on the blue line personally.
Yeah. No, I think he needs probably a year or two of development at least before making the NHL. Just to grow in his body, become more physical, protect the net. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be surprised if he pushed hard for a spot, especially if we do have like a hole open, if we don't replace Byram, if we trade him. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I like a lot that we keep drafting goalies at least one a year. Like Nashville Predators, they're known for doing that. They went from Pecorine to Jussi Saros. And then Askarov as well. Like they just keep drafting goalies, and it's like playing a lottery ticket. You never know if you're going to win, but what if you do, kind of thing.
Yeah. Denny Gilbert, just per Brennan Clack, Denny Gilbert going to the Flyers on a 1-year deal for $875,000.
Yeah. I was hoping we would get him back.
Yeah. Guy who's loyal to the Crest. Oh man, that sucks. I mean, I think we're gonna bring him back, but such a good locker room guy, such a good guy. Sticks up for his teammates, not afraid to throw the body, not afraid to drop the gloves. Like, wasn't he the guy that fought after the first guy to fight after the Tage hit? I want to say
he fought Matthew Olivier.
Yeah, he fought the biggest heavyweight in the league.
Yeah.
And he held his own for like a couple seconds. Yeah. Like a few seconds.
Maybe 2 seconds, but
yeah.
At least he actually has the balls to do it, though.
Yeah, nobody else. You gotta credit him for being the guy to stand up to him.
Yeah. Like when Alex Tuck leads your team in fights, like you have a problem. Like he's not a fighter. Mm-hmm. We need like how you said, like a Delorier. He would be really good to have like on a 4th line. Just physical, goes to the net, fights. Mm-hmm. We're just missing that toughness and Ryan Lindgren to Seattle, 4 times 4.5.
That's not a bad deal for Seattle.
Yeah, pretty good.
Man. All right, we got 7 minutes, I think, before we're gonna clock out here. Wow. Ryan Lindgren. Wow. Well, I mean, good for him. Gotta get paid. Do something, Darcy. Oh, God. Never been this tired an hour in a free agency. It's awful.
I expected to see a lot more than I did right now.
Yep. Made official by Matthew Fairburn. State Flyers have signed former Sabres defenseman Dennis Gilbert to a 1-year deal worth $875,000. Good for him, man. I'm glad his team's still in the NHL. Hopefully we see him down at FHL because he's an FHL alumni. We see him play down at Harbor Center maybe once or twice this summer. We're apparently going to possibly have a follow down there at some point, which would be fun. So, I think is he currently with Winnipeg, I believe? Yeah, Winnipeg.
Yeah.
If America makes the team this year, we were tanking 100%.
I mean, when you have McKenna,
you can cure insomnia. I love it. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here, Joe?
I just hope that their biggest move in free agency is not Alex Lyon, whether that happens or not. I don't know why it's taking so long. But.
Well, actually, one thing we haven't talked about yet. Maybe this is what they're working on first. Is Alex Tuch is eligible to be extended today?
Oh yeah.
Maybe the whole up is they're working on a Tuch extension.
And I've seen some people even mentioning a Benson extension. I don't know if I would do that personally. He hasn't proven nearly.
I mean, I feel fine extending that guy and just don't give him an 8-year deal.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could see the Sabres going just a bridge deal, which I wouldn't hate, but
yeah.
Alex Tuch has to be your first priority for sure. And I'm hoping for like a 5-year, $9 million probably would be ideal.
Yeah, I think you pay that guy what he wants essentially to stay in Buffalo because you need to keep him in Buffalo.
For sure.
Wonders if we aren't anything is because they're.
One guy I have wondered about a lot is Jared McCann from Seattle. He would be, I think, a perfect fit on Tage's wing, but I'm pretty sure he has a no movement clause.
Yeah, I mean, I have graphics, somebody tweeting out periodically through the day, teams that I got to update some of them because obviously after today, some trades obviously went down. You got to update some of these graphics, but teams whose players have no movement, who don't have trade protection.
Yeah. I know like Zach Whitecloud from Vegas, he doesn't have trade protection. He would be a good fit on the third pair too. I don't know. I would honestly, I'd like Capo Caco. I think he would be solid pickup in RFA or even a trade. Jared McCann, though, I think would be my biggest target from Seattle.
Maybe we aren't hearing anything because they're working on an Alex Tuch extension. That would be awesome news, man. That's just a guy you got to keep him. You got to make him happy.
Yeah, that's the one guy you can't lose because
you can't lose him.
Like you've said it multiple times too, and I 100% agree. Like you can't lose the guy who grew up a Sabres fan. His first interview with the Sabres, he named every single player on the 06-07 Sabres roster. Like you just can't lose that guy. Such a bad look for the team.
I love this comment. Imagine you bring back Jeff Skinner while still paying for his buyout.
Can you even do that?
I don't know, man. It'd be funny as shit.
Hey, we could use goal scoring, so
yeah. So
veteran.
My final thoughts are get Alex Tuch does need to be the priority here. Get him signed and under contract long term. Give him a contract that makes him finish his career as a Buffalo Sabre, in my opinion. Yeah. Because he's worth every penny. Again, in my opinion. So outside that, I think we're gonna get out of here. It's been around an hour, a little over an hour and a half now. We've been live for an hour and 46 minutes. Just remember this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier American tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 6 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know 2 Goalies 1 Mike sent you. I am Duane for Joey. This has been episode 198, 2 Goalies 1 Mike signing off. If anything big does happen, we'll come back to you and go live again. No doubt about it. And potentially an episode tonight, we will see. My guest, Chris Peters from Flow Hockey, originally was going to be on tonight, but he asked if we could push it to tomorrow night. Chris, always a fantastic guest. So if you have enjoyed this today's episode, last night's episode, or any episode we've done, you're watching on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Hit that little bell icon so you know when we go live. Please hammer the like button. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit the like button. Please. Helps us a lot with the algorithm. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, share this post. Let your friends know, spread the word. Same thing on Twitter. Now X. Make sure you share it, quote tweet it, do whatever you got to do. And you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you're audio only. So you can find us there wherever you get your podcasts. I am Duane for Intern Joey. We will talk to you hopefully soon. We have a reason to come back and get on live again. But until then, as always, go Sabres.